Hello everybody, my name is Sinkara, and in today's video, I am back with the Egyptian God card structured decks. In today's video, I'm going to be explaining how to play each of these decks. I'm going to be starting with the Obelisk deck, so if you're only interested in the Slifer the Sky Dragon deck, then I will leave the timestamp for that in the description. Now then, Obelisk decks. So I've split up the monsters based on their effects to help explain what each of them do and how to use them well. So first of all, we've got these three. These three are the monsters that summon themselves. These are your best monsters for bringing out Obelisk. We've got Cyber Dragon and Evil Swarm, special summon themselves if only your opponent controls monster, or if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. So if you have these three and Obelisk, and your opponent has two monsters, then you can bring out Obelisk, basically. It's pretty simple. Or if your opponent has one monster and you've only got one of these, plus Angel 01 and any level 4 or lower, and Obelisk, you can bring out Obelisk. The thing about Angel 01, this card is the best monster in the deck, right? If you've got three of them, you need three of Angel 01. Angel 01 is the best monster in the deck. So this guy not only easily special summons himself if you have a level 7 or higher monster in your hand, but also he will get you a extra tribute summon, which is fantastic. That is so useful in this deck. So if at any point you can bring out three monsters, including this guy, he will get you your extra tribute summon for Obelisk, because you'll likely use up your normal summon, especially with cards like Ra's Disciple, which we'll talk about next. So Ra's Disciple, Nimble Momonga, these guys special summon two more of themselves. With Nimble Momonga, it's when it's destroyed, you bring out two more of them, and then you hope that they survive. So it's a bit of a slow card, unfortunately. There's definitely some uses, as he can be brought out with Beaver and Mega Hamster, but you do just kind of have to hope that the two that come out survive. If they don't, you still get 1,000 life points each, which is pretty good. That's fantastic. So, you know, it's a bit of a risk-reward type thing. With Ra's Disciple, however, the problem is that he needs to be normal summoned for his effect to go off. So, while he doesn't need to be, you can special summon him and his effect will go off. But if you have one in your hand, you kind of just have to normal summon it. If it's in the graveyard, special summon it by all means. But yeah, then he special summons two more from your hand or deck, which is, again, very unfortunate. You can't bring them back from the graveyard. So that uses up a normal summon, then you bring out two more, which does immediately get you three tributes, but then you can't tribute for Obelisk. However, if you have Angel 01 or Double Summon, which is also in this deck, then you can immediately go into your Obelisk, which is fantastic. Another thing to note about these guys is that if Obelisk is already on the field, they will bring out two monsters to tribute for his effect, which is also fantastic, assuming that you want to use his effect. But yeah, that's another thing to note about this deck, is that even if you have Obelisk, you still want to summon multiple monsters to use his effect. Photon Saber Tiger. This card kinda sucks, to be honest. It's not the best. Problem is, when it's normal or flip summoned, so not special summoned, when it's normal or flip summoned, then you add another one to your hand. Which then, of course, has used up your normal summon, for starters, so you can't bring out Obelisk or another Saber Tiger. And it loses 800 attack unless you control another Photon Saber Tiger. So it's a bit kinda sucks. There is, however, one combo that I worked out with Super Nimble Mega Hamster. When this guy is flipped, you can special summon a level 3 or lower beast monster and from your deck face down. So if you set this guy, and then he gets attacked, then he can go into a Photon Saber Tiger face down, and assuming that your opponent doesn't blow that up, which is very easy, 300 defense, then next turn you can flip summon it, add another one to your hand, normal summon that, and then you have two 2,000 attack point monsters, which is relatively strong. I mean, this deck is not made for any competitive play. This is a very beginner deck. So in a casual game, 2,000 attack, double of them, that's pretty good, I reckon. That's a strong one. But that is basically the only situation in which you would be able to get out two of them, unless you have a double summon, but that's a waste of a double summon. It's not great. It's not fantastic. It'd be better if it just weren't there, to be honest. Next we have these three. These three will special summon another monster from your deck. So, Unmasked Dragon, we'll talk about that one last actually. Nimble Beaver can special summon a level 3 or lower Nimble monster. So basically, you summon him, normal summoned, then you can bring out your Nimble Momonga in defense mode. That is his only purpose, and then Nimble Momonga can obviously go into two more Nimble Momongas, which is fantastic. So we love that. Nimble Beaver is pretty good. If you already have Obelisk, summon Nimble Beaver, summon Nimble Momonga. You can use Obelisk effect, Tribute 2, destroy all their monsters. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Gets out your Momonga, which is great. It's another search card. Fantastic. Super Nimble Mega Hamster basically does the same thing, except when he's flipped. And then he can summon any level 3 or lower beast monster. So we can go into your Nimble Beaver. Don't go into your Nimble Beaver unless it's the last choice, because his effect only applies when he's normal summoned, not flip or special summoned, so you don't want to go into Nimble Beaver actually, but you can go into Photon Saber Tiger like discussed before, flip it, grab another one, or just simply go into Nimble Momonga, who will then go into 2 more Nimble Momongas, and hopefully by the time they get through your Mega Hamster and your first one, they're out of attacks and you get to keep both your Momongas. That would be fantastic! But, you know, it's not likely, but, you know, it could happen. That's the dream, that's the dream. Finally, we have Unmasked Dragon. When it's destroyed, special summon a Wire monster, so that goes into your Mare, who can only be special summoned with the effect of another Wire monster. And Mare, it's pretty good. Once per turn, you can special summon a token by reducing this card's level by 1. You don't need its level unless you're running Synchros adding them. It is a tuner monster, but he gangs out a token, which you can then use Tribute for Obelisk. So if you get this destroyed, special summon Mare next turn, summon a token, special summon Angelo 1 perhaps, or an Evil Swarm, and then go into Obelisk, Tribute for Obelisk. Doesn't even use your normal summon, which is fantastic. Yeah, it is a bit slow. It can only special summon 1 token per turn, unfortunately, but that's the price we have to pay, sadly enough. That's the thing with most of these cards, is that they're a bit too slow. This deck is not competitive at all. It'd be very unlikely for you to win any games in the tournament, sadly, but for casual play, it could be a lot of fun. It can definitely be fun. Next, we've got Hardened Arm Dragon. This card is staple in beginner God card decks. This used to be a classic. Basically, if he's tributed, he provides protection from card effects to Obelisk, can't be destroyed by card effects. Well, if the monster that is tributed to summon him can't be destroyed by card effects. He does have a special summon himself effect, however, it is only by sending a level 8 or higher monster from your hand to the graveyard. And you'll notice that the only level 8 or higher monster in this deck is Obelisk himself, so that's kind of dumb. I didn't really think that through, so his special summon effect is pretty much useless, unless you have some other play, or if you're running 3 of them, you got 3 Obelisks, then you can get rid of 1. Or if you want to send it, then reborn it back, that works too, but yeah, otherwise special summon effect is not the best, but he does have protection. So, you know, if you special summon Evil Swarm, special summon this guy, normal summon this, then tribute all 3, fantastic, that'd be great. Next up we got these guys, Salamandra and Bazoo the Soul Eater. Both of these has a very similar effect. This guy can banish up to 3 monsters from your graveyard, gains 300 attack. This guy banishes up to 2 monsters each turn and gains 300 attack for each one. Yeah, then they're a bit random. They're kind of random, but I do know why they're in here. They're in here so that you can special summon your Gizmax. These guys will also have a special summon themselves if you have 6 or more banished cards, I believe. No, it's not even this one. It's just this guy. If you have 6 or more of your cards are banished, you can normal summon this card without tributing us. So it's not even a special summon, which kinda sucks. However, this guy, Gizmek Mikami the Ferocious Fang Fortress, is actually pretty good. This guy's really good in this deck. With his effect, you can discard a monster from your hand, and then straight up just add Obelisk to your hand. So that's fantastic. This guy searches out Obelisk nice and easy. Just need to discard a monster. He does require 1 tribute or having 3 banished cards, but he will get your Obelisk straight from your deck. This guy, I discovered from the back of the duel mat, he's in there to immediately special summon Obelisk from your deck, which sounds fantastic until you realize that your opponent needs a monster with the same attribute to do it. So, good luck getting that off. No. Yeah, definitely gonna take this out if you're running 3 of them. You could side deck it, like if you and your friend each got one of the decks, you know, your friend's got the Slifer deck, you've got the Obelisk deck, they have their Slifer out, you just whack this guy down, immediately special summon Obelisk. It's fantastic, but in other situations, yeah, you're very unlikely to get this effect off, sadly enough. Condemned Witch will add any of your Forbidden Quick Play spells to your hand, so she's pretty good. Just gets the search out, you know, it's fantastic. Forbidden Quick Play spells are great. So, yeah, sum up for the monsters. These guys are your best bet. They special summon themselves from the hand, nice and easy. Angelo 1 is just absolutely amazing. Special summons himself and gets you an extra tribute summon. This guy is amazing. You want like 3 of him. He is fantastic. Angelo 1 is your best card in this deck. Otherwise, yeah, everything else, it's pretty straightforward lineup. It's a pretty straightforward play. You just special summon stuff as much as you can, then summon Obelisk. That's the basics of it. The good thing about this is that there are some other stronger monsters. There's Mare. The Gizmecs are pretty strong. These guys are also can be quite strong. Photon Saber Tiger can have 2,000. So you got a backup if your Obelisk fails, if they get rid of it, or if you simply just aren't able to bring it out, which is pretty likely, unfortunately. Then you do have a backup. You can swarm the field, you can attack. If you have Xyz and Synchros, then you can summon those as well. There are backup plans for this deck, which is great. Next up, we got these spells and traps. They're pretty straightforward. So first of all, we have Soul Crossing. This card is amazing. You really want this card. This card is fantastic. This is the easiest way to summon Obelisk. If your opponent has 3 monsters, steal them all, summon Obelisk. Your opponent has 2 monsters, normal summon one of yours, steal all theirs, summon Obelisk. They have 1 monster, special summon, normal summon, steal their monster, summon Obelisk. It's fantastic. It's also a quick play spell, so you can interrupt your opponent's turn. They're busy special summoning stuff. They bring out 3 monsters, Soul Crossing, summon Obelisk on their turn. It gets you an extra normal summon for Obelisk. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It is easily like the best card in this deck. It's even better than Angelo 1. It's fantastic. Soul Crossing is just the best. Following up Soul Crossing, we also have the Monarch Stormforth. This will let you tribute one of your opponent's monsters to summon Obelisk. It unfortunately does not give you an extra normal summon, but you can still tribute your opponent's monsters. Just one of them, so if you can able to special summon like these 2, then tribute one of your opponent's monsters to summon Obelisk, it helps. It's a good card. Double Summon is fantastic in the right situation. Double Summon is definitely... A card like this is definitely needed. If you have Ra's Disciple and Double Summon plus Obelisk, then you can summon Obelisk. Normal Ra's, Double Summon, Ra's Disciple special summons 2 more, tribute for Obelisk. Yeah, Double Summons is definitely very useful. You'll definitely often need an extra normal summon or something, which is why Angelo 1 is so good. But you'll definitely need an extra normal summon with this to get out your Obelisk if he's in your hand. So Double Summon's good. I would take it out for more Soul Crossings or Angelo 1 though, but yeah. Brain Control, again, lets you steal one of your opponent's monsters that can be normal summoned or set, so you steal them, tribute them for Obelisk. It just gets you another tribute, fantastic. You'll find that it's a lot easier to get out 2 monsters than it is to get out 3, so being able to steal your opponent's monsters is fantastic. Reborn, same thing. You'll mostly use this just to get out your final tribute, your 3rd tribute for Obelisk, so it can be used to bring out Obelisk if he is in the graveyard. Just keep in mind that if you special summon Obelisk, he will be sent to the graveyard during the end phase. But, you know, if he's already in the graveyard, then you may as well bring him out for 1 turn, deal 4,000 damage. It could definitely come in handy, but you'll mainly want to use this to get your 3rd tribute to summon Obelisk. Same goes for the Haunted. Level Resist Wall, this card could actually be pretty good. It can easily special summon 3 monsters, so long as they're... Yeah, if one of your monsters is destroyed, special summon as many as possible, and their levels have to equal their monsters, so it can be very easily used to get out free tributes for Obelisk. Just use it to get out as much as you can. Strategize, think ahead, think about what you're going to do if you have Obelisk in your hand. Just try and special summon 3. You can just go into a Ra's Disciple, who will special summon 2 more of himself, straight off the bat. That's not Ra's Disciple, but he'll special summon 2 more of himself, and then you can also continue to special summon more. So if a Mare is destroyed, special summon Ra's, special summon Angelo 1, special summon Photon Saber Tiger, Ra's special summons 2 more of himself. That's 5 monsters. You'll probably have 3 tributes. So Level Resist Wall is definitely a pretty good card in this deck. It can easily get you out 3 tributes. You just got to think about it a little bit. Probably the most complicated card in the deck, to be honest, and it's pretty straightforward. Cloning gets your next tribute. Divine Evolution and Fist of Fate. These cards can only be used while you control Obelisk, or with Divine Evolution, any divine monster, but in this case, Obelisk. Basically, if you have Obelisk, go ahead, just use it. This will get rid of something, as well as all of their spell and traps. This will give them some extra protection and, you know, more monster destruction abilities. This is great, just use it straight up if you have Obelisk. This one is a little more situational, but still, it's fantastic. Yeah. Obelisk-centric cards. Now, Different Dimension Capsule. This card is a bit dodgy. The playmat says to use it to get Obelisk. I recommend against that, however, unless you know your opponent's not going to destroy it. Thing is, this card stays on the field for 2 turns and then you get your card. So it banishes something from your deck face down. Your opponent can destroy this during any time until you get that card back though. So if they do, then that card is just lost. It's banished face down. You're not getting it. So if you lose your Obelisk like that, you're screwed. Basically, you're pretty much screwed unless you can get off this guy's effect, who can shuffle 6 of your banished cards back into the deck. So you'll need 5 more banished cards, then this card to be destroyed, then you can get your Obelisk back in the deck. It's not worth it. It's a very risky play. Play out the risk by all means if you think it's going to be safe for 2 turns, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would instead recommend going for a Ra's Disciple, Angelo 1, one of your Gizmek guys even. You know, something else, one of your other combo pieces. Even one of these Spell and Traps, like Soul Crossing, is fantastic. Don't really want to use it, but better than losing your Obelisk. So yeah, Different Dimension Capsule, it's not the best. Just sub it out for Gold Sarcophagus if you have it. Pot of Avarice, pretty standard. The 3 Forbidden Chalice, Forbidden Lance, and Forbidden Dress. Unfortunately, no Forbidden Droplets, but these guys are great. Ooh. Pardon me. Supply Squad, extra draw cards. Harvey's Feather Duster, take out their back row, and Drowning Mirror Force, take out their monsters. This will also provide protection for your Ra's Disciple, who uses up your normal summon. So you can summon Ra's, summon 2 more, set this, and you should be safe to summon Obelisk next turn, hopefully. So that's the basics of the Obelisk deck. It's a pretty straightforward deck. It's definitely a beginner's deck, so it's pretty easy to use, you'll find. Just summon as much as you can and try and bring out Obelisk. That's basically it. It's very straightforward. There's not a lot of complicated combos. Angelo 1 is your best card. Yeah, that's all there is to say, really. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I think just practice and you'll easily get the hang of it. It's a very easy deck to play for casual games. Okay, now let's discuss the Slifer the Sky Dragon deck. This deck, I would definitely say, is not as good. I don't think this deck is going to be as good. It definitely works. Originally, I thought it would be better, but having looked at it, it's a little too random. Okay, so the idea behind this deck is to special summon tokens to use for tribute. So tokens are your game in this deck. So first of all, these are all the cards that can special summon tokens. Now, in a lot of cases, that's fantastic. Lair of Darkness, you probably won't be able to use your tokens. It's not even likely that you'll even special summon tokens with this. This card is not great. It's not fantastic. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Golden Apples gives you 1 token when you take damage. Fantastic. One-time passcode, spell card that special summons 1 token, which is also fantastic. It just gets you that final piece to special summon Slifer. And the token has 2000 attack and defense, which is also great. So those 2 are pretty good. They just get you your final monster. Not so much golden apples, but one-time passcode, definitely useful. All of these guys special summon tokens, mainly when they're summoned, which is the problem. Nine-Tailed Fox requires tributes on his own. You can special summon him with 2 tributes, and then if it's destroyed, you get 2 tokens. That's a little too slow. That's not great. It's definitely good. It's got a beefy attack, and if they get rid of it, you get 2 tokens to tribute. Then you can one-time passcode, special summon Obelisk, normal summon Obelisk. Obelisk Slifer, for goodness sake. Summon Slifer. But yeah, it's not the best. Gets you 2 tokens though. It's alright. It's alright. Phantom Skyblaster can get you any number of tokens provided your opponent has that many monsters. So it gets you 1 token up to the number of monsters your opponent controls when it's normal or flip summoned. Fortunately, it has to be normal summoned, uses up your normal summon, which is very disappointing as we know, but it can potentially get you 4 tokens onto the field immediately. You'll have 5 monsters, and assuming 3 of them survive, then you get Slifer, so that's great, that's fantastic. Can be good, just depends on your opponent. It is opponent dependent, which is a bit unfortunate. Scapegoat, when it's flipped, special summon any number of tokens. This card's pretty good, assuming that the tokens survive. Assuming your opponent only has 1 monster or 2, flip it, special summon 4 more tokens. Tribute for Slifer next turn. It's alright. Bit slow, but it is definitely good. I have used it in decks before. Clock Wyvern, when it's normal or special summon, halve its attack, summon a token. You can special summon it, then get a token, then special summon another token with one-time passcode or something. Then tribute for Slifer. Again, yeah, it's a bit slow. It's basically just 2 monsters in one, but will probably use up your normal summon. Tell Us the Little Angel, unfortunately, is not as good as his friend Angel 01, but he's still alright. If he's sent from the monster zone to the graveyard... Okay, this card is actually pretty good. You can special summon one winged... Okay, if this card is sent from monster zone to the graveyard, special summon a token. While you control a token, you can banish this card from your graveyard and one spell in your hand, special summon 2 tokens. So, if this is the last card destroyed by your opponent, goes to the graveyard, you get a token. Then you can banish it, plus 1 spell in your hand, you get 2 more tokens. Just like that, you have 3 tributes right off the bat to summon Slifer. So, it's pretty good, assuming that your token survives. Assuming that it survives. If you can get rid of it on the turn that you special summon it, then you can go into Slifer, or something like that. That's assuming you can get rid of it that turn, which you could tribute it for a Nine-Tailed Fox or something. It uses up too many normal summons, so it's a bit difficult. But it definitely, it can get you out 3 monsters right off the bat, which is also great. Reactor Slime, same thing. When it's normal summoned, you get 2 tokens. He's basically a Rather Staple. This card is amazing if you have Egyptian God Slime, which neither of these decks come with, unfortunately. If you do have an Egyptian God Slime, that is staple. You gotta run that in every Egyptian God card deck. It's amazing. You can tribute this card during either player's battle phase to set Metal Reflect Slime, which can be activated that turn. And if you don't know, Metal Reflex Slime can be tributed to immediately summon the fusion monster God Slime, which can be treated as 3 tributes. So you can just tribute one of them to summon Slifer. So these guys are amazing if you have God Slime. The deck does not, so it's okay. Yeah, it's during your main phase you can special summon 2 tokens, so if it survives, you can summon 2 more, I guess, so it's pretty great. If you can special summon this guy, then you can normal summon Slifer. If you have an extra normal summon, then you can summon Slifer. Yeah, otherwise, 3 tokens, it's okay, and it also gets out Metal Reflect Slime, which is, again, it's okay, but without God Slime, it's not a whole lot of point. But next up, speaking of Metal Reflect Slime, these are the monsters that can special summon themselves. So, Metal Reflect Slime is a trap. When it's activated, special summons itself. 3,000 defense points. It will likely survive. It's 1 extra card for tributing. It's 1 extra tribute. Again, all of these special summon themselves, so if you control a dark monster, you can special summon this from the hand. That's great. This guy, you can tribute any number of dark monsters to special summon them from the hand. Keep in mind that your field spell, Lair of Darkness, will treat every monster on the field as a dark monster, and you can also tribute one of your opponent's monsters to activate a dark monster's effect. So that's pretty good. That's once per turn you can tribute one of your opponent's monsters. So you can do that for Duke Shade, and it gets you an extra special summon, nice and easy. Then you can go into Clawcrow, then you can go into Tendy Spirit, Vishudo if you... Okay, never mind. But if you control no effect monsters, you can special summon this card from the hand. So, special summon this one first, then tribute one of your opponent's monsters, special summon this one, then special summon Clawcrow, then tribute for Slifer. It's difficult, but it can definitely happen. I mean, if you have this as a starting hand, that ain't too bloody bad. You can get out your Slifer, he'll have no attack points, but still, you can do it. That's the problem with Slifer, is that he relies on cards in your hand. However, even if you don't have cards in your hand, Slifer still has incredible field presence that he deals 2,000 points of damage to any monster that your opponent summons in attack mode. If it has less than 2,000 attack, it dies. If it has more, then it just loses 2,000 attack. It's fantastic. Slifer's field presence is incredible just because of that effect, so even if you don't have many cards in your hand, you'll probably be fine. If you have 1 card in your hand, then unless they summon a 3,000 point monster, then they're not getting over Slifer. That's the thing, so he's pretty amazing like that. Beast King Barbaros is also... You can normal summon him without tributing, which is fine. He's an easy normal summon, I guess, and his attack becomes 1900 if you do that. But I would say that it's better to use this other effect. You can summon this card by tributing 3 monsters if you wish, and if you do, he destroys all cards your opponent controls, and then attacks for 3,000. This sometimes might even be better than summoning Slifer, honestly. It depends, it's situational, but this is definitely a great card if you manage to get 3 tributes somehow, which is gonna be difficult in this deck, but this is kind of the purpose of the deck. Then go for this. Destroy all of your opponent's cards. It's fantastic. 3,000 attack points, so I lumped these 2 in together just because of that. Next we have these four. These four will special summon something from the graveyard. So we all know what Reborn does, special summon from the graveyard. Back to the front is basically Call of the Haunted, but in defense mode, which is kind of sad because you don't really want to use this to summon Slifer. Except maybe during your opponent's turn, then Slifer's effect will still go off, but it does summon in defense mode, so you won't be able to attack, and then of course Slifer will go to the graveyard during the end phase when he's special summoned. Speaking of special summoning Slifer, Ultimate Divine Beast is pretty cool. This card's pretty good. Unfortunately, it's only when your opponent declares an attack, then you can discard a card, special summon Slifer, and then Slifer tanks that attack. So it's pretty good for stopping attacks, bringing out your Egyptian God each turn, and if you do have a Divine Beast during the end phase, then this will destroy any monster your opponent controls that activated their effects on the field, which is pretty great. But otherwise, it's not the best. It's okay, definitely has some protection. You can keep busting out Slifer until you build up more of a field presence. Let's go for Barbaros or something. You know, it's alright, it's not bad, it's not bad. Millennium Seeker will special summon a monster from your opponent's graveyard, or potentially add a card from their deck to the hand, so it's a bit dodgy, gotta be careful. It's okay, it's not a great card. It looks cool, but it ain't that great. Next up, finally, we have these guys. These cards will all protect your monsters, so these are fantastic. This is a good thing about the Slifer deck, is that it has a lot more protection from battle, which means your monsters will survive long enough to tribute them, which is what we want. So, Electromagnetic Turtle, banished from the graveyard in the battle phase. Easy, fantastic, love that. Mirror Force, destroys all their attack position monsters when they declare an attack. Easy, reliable, love that. Enemy Controller, this can be used two ways. You can either use it to steal your opponent's monster for a tribute, but that will cost you one of your own monsters, so it's not an extra tribute. Or you can use it to simply switch one of your opponent's monsters into defense mode, which can prevent them from attacking one of your monsters, and you can keep your tributes on the field. And you can use either effect to prevent an attack, I guess. Book of Moon, same thing, flip a monster face down. This card can also stop card effects. If a card effect goes off, flip it face down, and it could potentially stop it. It can also stop attacks, of course. If a monster attacks, flip it face down, nice and easy, prevent the attack. Keep your tributes on the field. Swords of the Feeling Light, this card is fantastic. This is great in this deck. Will protect your monsters for 3 turns. Your opponent can't attack for 3 turns while this is on the field. It's fantastic, protects all your monsters from being attacked. That's what you want, then you contribute them for a Slifer, nice and easy. You can also use it to stall and build up cards in your hand to increase Slifer's attack. And Card Guard, Card Guard, when you summon, gets 1 counter, and if any card, I believe. Right, so you can remove the counter from this card, put it on any monster, and if that card would be destroyed, if a card with a guard card would be destroyed, then you can remove the counter instead. So, he protects 1 monster, basically, each turn. Just 1 monster. He protects 1 monster. Not too bad, not too bad. Definitely add some protection for your tributes. If you manage to special summon 2 monsters or 3 monsters, then normal summon Card Guard. Then protect it for another turn, hopefully. That ain't too bad. Finally, we got the rest of the stuff, so March of the Monarchs. I would definitely prefer the Egyptian God-specific field spell, Mount of the Bound Creator. Does the same thing. Monsters that are tribute summoned can't be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target them with card effects. And you can't special summon from the extra deck. So it adds protection for your Slifer. I would definitely prefer the Mount of the Bound Creator, though, because it does extra stuff as well, and it's a field spell, doesn't take up your back row. But it ain't too bad. Definitely a good card, protects Slifer, assuming that you can actually get Slifer out, of course. Arima, the Wicked Warden. You can discard this to add your Lair of Darkness, wherever that is. You can discard it to add Lair of Darkness to your hand. Lair of Darkness definitely has some plays in the deck. Not great, but it has some. And with his effect, you can tribute 1 dark monster to draw a card, so that's great. These are your extra draw effects, which is obviously very useful. Slifer has 1,000 attack for each card in your hand, so drawing a card is great. And of course, if you have Lair of Darkness on the field, you can tribute your opponent's monster for this effect. And if you do tribute a monster other than himself, then you can add Duke Shade to your hand if you really want. Don't have to, but you can, or simply another one of him. No, 2,000 or more defense, so you can add your Duke Shade or something else for shooter or something. Which isn't great. You'll normally just want to draw a card, but definitely can be very useful. Could get you your final tribute. So we have 3 of them for some reason. 3 draws, nice and easy. It ain't bad at all. Pot of Avarice lets you draw 2 cards, also gets 5 of your monsters back, fantastic, love that. Supply Squad, extra draw cards every time a monster is destroyed, fantastic. Reckless Greed lets you draw 2 cards, but you skip your next 2 draw phases, so it's very useful for not only getting cards to your hand quicker, hopefully get your Slifer, but also if Slifer's on your field, it can be a surprise trap to give Slifer an extra 2,000 attack. If your opponent tries to attack and destroy Slifer, boom, 2,000 extra attack. Done, nice and easy. So yeah, definitely a good card. We love Reckless Greed. It's nice and simple. Draw 2 cards. It's great. It's great. Finally, Thunder Force Attack. This is the Slifer the Sky Dragon specific card. This card is fantastic. If you have Slifer on the field, activation can't be negated, so that's fantastic. If you control monsters whose original name is Slifer, then destroy face-up monsters. Destroy as many face-up monsters your opponent controls as possible. Then, if this card was activated during your main phase, draw 1 card for each monster that was destroyed by that effect, but you can only attack for 1 monster per turn, this turn. So, yeah, if your opponent's got a lot of monsters, blow them all up, draw 5 cards, attack for game. It's fantastic. This is definitely a brilliant card. We love this for Slifer. Definitely need it if you're running a Slifer-specific deck. This card is amazing. Unfortunately, however, only works if Slifer is on the field, so that's... You need to get Slifer out, that's the problem. You need to get him out first. Feather Duster destroys all spell traps. Breaker will destroy 1 spell trap. Don't know why this is here, but he can destroy 1 spell trap. It's a bit random, much like Bazoo the Soul Eater in the other deck, but these just don't have synergy. Same with Breaker the Dark Magical Warrior. He can destroy 2 spell traps, but requires a tribute, so... Neat, I guess. Draw of Fate. Extra draw card. When your life points are lower than your opponent's and your opponent controls a monster with the highest attack on the field, reveal 3 cards from your deck with different names, place them on top in a random order, then draw 1 card. It can definitely be pretty good. You can get your Soul Crossing, you can get your Card Advance, you can get your True Name, and then guess which is on top. You can even add your Slifer or Beast King. But it is a random out of 3, so make sure you choose the 3 wisely. Make sure each of the 3 will help you in some way or another. And this can definitely be a very useful card if that is the case. Soul Crossing. Much like in the last deck, this is the best card in the deck. You contribute 3 of your opponent's monsters to summon Slifer. You contribute 1 of your opponent's monsters plus 2 of your summon Slifer. You contribute 2 of your monsters and 1 of your opponent's monsters to summon Slifer. It gets you an extra tribute summon, so even if you've normal summoned this turn, you can summon Slifer. It's a quick play spell. Even if your opponent's turn, you can summon Slifer. Interrupt their plays. They're busy special summoning shit. They bring out 3 monsters. Boom! Summon Slifer. Kill them all. Fantastic. Soul Crossing. Love it. 10 out of 10. Card Advance is actually pretty damn good, gets you an extra tribute summon, and you get to rearrange top 5 cards of your deck. This card is fantastic in these decks, I find out. Not only for that extra tribute summon, which is amazing, but also the rearrange, which you can then use for the True Name. The True Name can be a very good card. It can be. Emphasis on the can. If I'm running True Names, I'll usually use Convulsion of Nature and Card Advance or Card Advance. If you have both of these, you're set. You are set. Card Advance rearranges top cards, remember what they are, then True Name. If you guess the top card of your deck, add it to your hand, then you can add a Divine Monster from your deck to your hand, or special summon it. But it will go to the graveyard during the end phase if it's special summon, just keep that in mind. You can just add it to your hand though. True Name, it can definitely be good. If you use it in combination with Card Advance, rearrange top 5, True Name, grab 1, add Slifer, then you still have your extra tribute summon thanks to Card Advance. Boom shakalaka. It's dang-a-lang time. So there we go, that's the Slifer deck. Much less straightforward than the Obelisk deck, is still very beginner friendly. It's basically the same strategy, just special summon as much as you can. There aren't a lot of sick combos in here, it's just bust out tokens and try and keep them on the field to summon Slifer. Definitely has more protection for your tributes with all of these, which is fantastic. But yeah, you will still find that you'll have a hard time summoning Slifer with this deck, I imagine, unless you get very lucky, which is good for you, but definitely not competitive. It is a beginner-friendly deck. It is a very casual deck, not at all competitive, but it still works. It functions. It functions, I should say. There are definitely ways to get out 3 monsters in 1 turn and summon Slifer or Beast King. It is definitely possible. It just really depends on what you have. There's no secret combo or anything. It's just, you have to get lucky. One-time passcode, fantastic, plus something that special summons itself, like these two. Boom, 3 monsters, nice and easy, summon Slifer. Yeah, it's unlikely, but it is definitely possible. Actually, this would be better than Shade. Yeah, like this is a hand that can summon Slifer. There are definitely hands that can summon Slifer. It's just difficult. The problem is using up your normal summons, so you can bust out 3 monsters easy. You just can't summon Slifer the same turn, probably. And if you do, then you don't have a lot of cards in your hand as well, and it's just... I mean, yeah, I mean, one of these could summon 3 monsters right off the bat, right? Problem is, they use up a normal summon, and you can't summon Slifer the same turn that you do it, which is definitely the only issue with this deck. If this card gave you another normal summon, you'd be set. Boom, easy peasy, but it doesn't, which is very sad. Also, this specifically says you can't normal or special summon for the rest of the turn, so even if you have card advance, you still can't do it. Yeah, it's very sad. It's very sad. But that is the problem with these decks. That is the issue of using Divine Beast. However, if you are interested, I will have several decks coming up in the future. If you like Egyptian Gods, then be sure to subscribe, because not only will I be showcasing more of this deck, so I'll combine the 2 decks for starters, then I'll do 3 of one deck, I'll do 3 of the other deck, and I'll do 3 of both and combine them, and I'll do 1 of each and combine them. We'll have a bunch of different combinations for how to run these decks, make them a little better if this is all you got. And then next month, I am planning to showcase a bunch of my own Egyptian God card decks. I am kind of the leading expert on how to run Egyptian Gods. I've been doing it since I was a child. I know what I'm doing. I mean, jinx before that fails, but I will show off a bunch of different Egyptian God card decks, including decks that include Ra, Slifer, Obelisk. So if you like the God cards, then please leave a like, comment down below, satisfy me by subscribing and hitting the bell icon to be notified of when the next video comes out. I love Egyptian Gods. If you love Egyptian Gods like I do, and you're excited for these cards, do that right now. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure Deck Series Egyptian God Deck. My name has been Sankara, and until next time, see ya.